All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from today. Welcome, welcome to today's webinar, co-hosted by the New York Oracle User Group and Oracle partner Viscosity North America. We've got two awesome viscosity software engineers with us today, Diego Fion and Rodolfo Rodriguez. This is a live webinar, so feel free to submit questions in the Q&A field and our presenters will get back to you as soon as they can. And it may be following the webinar if they cannot get to you immediately. So thank you guys for joining us. I know a lot of you have been following New York Oracle User Group and Viscosity webinars for a couple years now. So I just want to thank you guys for your continued following of us. My name is Monica Lee, and I am the marketing director here at Viscosity, a full Oracle stack consulting firm with core expertise in Oracle database. But I'll tell you a little bit more about us in a second. First, I'm going to hand it over to my partner in crime, Coleman Leviter from the New York Oracle User Group. He's just going to tell you about NYOUG before we get started.
Thank you, Monica. Greetings, everybody. So the New York Oracle Users Group was formed almost 40 years ago for the exchange of ideas, assistance, and support among users of Oracle software products. We're always looking for abstracts. Even though we're doing these webinars almost every other week, we're still open for abstracts from you people because you're the ones that make this webinar successful. And again, call for abstracts is on our website. Another item, I get to this page. Okay, reach us on Twitter, Meetup, and of course the abstracts, LinkedIn, Facebook, website, NYOUG.org. And what you'll see on our website until Oracle Open World starts, or Cloud World starts, is that we're offering for our New York Oracle User Group members a discount courtesy of Oracle. So check our website, click on the link, and you'll see the discount that you can receive from attending Oracle Cloud World. And again, thank you, Viscosity North America, for these ongoing series of webinars now in its third year. And we'll introduce the speakers in a moment. Away.
Awesome. Thanks, Coleman. All right, and I'll try to be speedy with my slides here as I tell you a little bit about Viscosity. Like I said, my name is Monica Lee, Marketing Director here at Viscosity, where our mission is to enable business transformation at a time when companies must change to survive. We are a full Oracle stack consulting firm with core expertise in Oracle database, including RAC, Oracle Apex, near zero downtime migrations, performance tuning, and high availability. We've also got decades of experience in infrastructure. So I do want to show off our basis of Viscosity. We are built upon these three pillars you see here: data, apps, and cloud. And across the bottom, you'll see services we offer across all three pillars. So if you need any help with any pain points, or if you just need some guidance from our trusted advisors, please reach out to us and we're happy to help and chat with you. On this page, I've got some of my colleagues that are part of the Oracle ACE program here. These folks represent some of the consultants who are recognized by Oracle as thought leaders in the Oracle database and development community. These guys present all over the world on Oracle topics and write blogs, books, case studies, you name it. And they're just out there helping the Oracle community and Oracle users like you. All right, on this page, I'd just like to point out a couple things. Oracle License Management, Managed Services. This is kind of a time when things are getting a little crazy and you might need help with maybe managed services across your apps, your cloud, your database, whatnot. But Oracle License Management, I always like to point this out because that's a process we have to do and deal with all the time between us and Oracle and any other third parties. It's just, it's part of what we do, and it's a lot easier when you do it regularly, right? So if it's not something that your organization wants to spend the time and headaches on, please reach out to a partner. We can help make sure you're only paying for what you need, and we can also make sure you're taking advantage of your purchases thereafter to the best possible amount. Okay, on this page, I've just got some books. We probably have over 30 books now. I think my slide here is a little out of date, but a couple new ones this year. Oracle Database Performance Tuning, Upgrading Oracle Databases, and Oracle on Docker. You can find all of these online. And then finally, AuraPub is where we host, Viscosity hosts all of our recordings from free webinars like this, along with slide decks from presenters and any other resources they decide to share with you. We also have all of our presentations from conferences posted here, and there's also a lot of live training you can take advantage of, as well as other tools and resources. So definitely go check out AuraPub. There are different tiers of membership, but all you really need is a free membership to at least get access to all these recordings. NYOUG also shares the recordings from their site as well, so you can check that out. All right, and with that, I think I'm going to pass it back over to Coleman, who's going to introduce our speakers today in our session.
Thank you, Monica. So today on today's webinar, we have Diego Fion, a senior implementation consultant at Viscosity, and Rodolfo Rodriguez, a software architect at Viscosity. Again, thank Viscosity, Monica, for these years of co-hosting these series of webinars, and I will be continuing these in the future. Thank you again. Monica?
Yep, Diego, do you want, or Rodolfo, are you going to have yours?
I will.
All right. Making
Thanks,
sure.
Coleman, for the introduction. Thank you, Monica, for sharing all the exciting things that we do at Viscosity. Let me share my screen. So, welcome to this webinar where we are going to show you how you can build your own Google Chrome plugin for ERP Cloud. Right. My co-speaker is going to be Rodolfo Rodriguez. That was already introduced by Coleman. He did all the craziness and difficult things related to this plugin to work very good from the backend perspective. I just focus on the presentation layer, and we are going to hop in. So let's get started with the benefits of custom plugins. So why custom plugins? Why people want custom plugins? It usually happens when you want a specific functionality that doesn't belong or doesn't exist in a pre-existing website or solution. So we face that kind of problems every day, right? And as you know, some of the Fusion applications are a little bit challenging, right? It's not that they are not working fine; it's that they are really hard to follow sometimes, right? When you're not an educated user, it's easy for you to get crazy with all the different options that you have. So that's why we started to do specific custom plugins to help our users to navigate and expedite their tasks using Fusion. So, like I said, we can build custom functionality. We can enhance productivity. This particular plugin does that. We can improve security and privacy as well, do integrations with other systems, and have control over updates and maintenance. So by custom functionality, you have the power to design features that meet your unique needs, right? Whether it's automating specific tasks, improving workflows, or adding new capabilities to your browsing experience, a custom plugin allows for a more personalized experience. While enhancing the productivity, custom plugins can streamline your tasks, right? Automating repetitive actions and saving you time. They can also add quick access features such as shortcuts that it's pretty similar to what we're doing with this plugin. to frequently visit pages or regularly use tools. This way, we help in boosting your productivity. And when we talk about security and privacy, the custom built plugins can provide better control over your security. Um, you can, for instance, create a plugin to automatically block certain types of data from being shared, or to provide additional layers of security when accessing certain websites. And this particular one, this plugin, um, it's restricted by the specific workflows that one of our customers wanted, that is related to approve invoices and approve journals. So if you want to use the capabilities of the plugins in any other parts of the application, it's not going to be working there, right? So it's specifically for this particular matter. Um, and that's how we improve security and privacy. Um, while talking about integration with other systems, um, a custom plugin can be designed to integrate seamlessly with other software system or platforms that you may use. This one, it's another good example because we are using our custom solutions that we built for this particular client through custom API calls. So this will include everything from social media sites, content management systems, or even a specific software used in your business. And the last part, that is control over updates and maintenance. Well, when you build it, you basically have full control on what is there, right? And you can have control over when updates are made and what those updates include. This particular is beneficial for business who may need to ensure that updates don't interfere with critical operations, or individuals who want to maintain control over the features and functionality of their plugins. So let's start with the integration step that we put on this implementation. We are going to show how to configure your ETLs to pull data from Fusion, configure the PDF builder, create ORT RESTful web services to serve the files that we are going to be showing with this plugin, how to code and program the Google Chrome plugin, deploy the Chrome plugin, and test the plugin in your Fusion app. So with all this, I'll let Rodolfo to take control of the presentation. Rodolfo, go for it.
Thank you, Diego. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So I'm going to explain a little bit what we did in order to accomplish this particular use case. So at a very high level, those are the main components: the plugin, the ORTs, or I mean the web service that we implemented using ORTs, and also the PL SQL logic that we're using to get all the information that we need, right? Basically, our plugin will call a web service, an endpoint web service that we built over ORTs. That is a really cool technology that the Oracle team is providing us. For that particular web service, that's really simple. I'm going to show you in a few. We're doing the actual call to the PL SQL store procedure in order to get all the information, at the very end the image of the invoice, of the whatever document that we are intending to approve in this use case, right? So let's start with the ORT's RESTful web service. So in this case, we're using the Apex technology to create the ORT's REST web service. It's not the only way to do it. We can use also SQL Developer. We can use just API calls to create those. However, I think the way that Apex implemented the web services creation and maintenance for those is really straightforward and it's really easy, right? So in the in this particular, we use the Apex, the SQL Workshop, and in here, this is a summary of the steps. You need to register your schema in ORTs, create your module, also create your resource template. In this case, we only create one. And finally, the handler. So we create a get handler in order to have this endpoint to obtain the PDF information. So behind the scenes, we're using some API from Oracle Fusion. And this is one of the let's say the tricky part, or maybe one of the big challenge in this particular use case, because it's not that well documented, or at least wasn't for me. We need to do several tests and some looking here and in the web and in the Oracle support page also. We were able to finally understand how we're going to get the image from Oracle for that particular invoice. For instance, I'm going to show you that very quick. So in this case, you can see that I'm using a REST endpoint from Oracle Fusion in order to get the invoice information, right? So let me show you how it looks. I'm using Postman to test my endpoints, my REST endpoints, like this one. So you can notice at the very end of this is the basic URL or URI, and we need to include the Oracle invoice ID. So using that, if we try that, we're going to get a JSON object for that particular invoice like this, right? It's basically all the information from the invoice. However, what we're looking for in this particular are the attachments, right? Because it's where the information of whatever file was uploaded when we're going to get using this particular endpoint. So you see in my next call, you will see that I'm using the same Oracle invoice ID. However, I add in this path, child attachments, in order to get the actual attachments for that particular invoice. So let me try that API call. We're getting, in this case, also a JSON object. In this case, it's an array because we can have several attachments, right? And you can notice all the detail of the attachment. What I was expecting at the very beginning is in here, I'm going to get just the file, just the image, or just the PDF, whatever attachment I'm looking for. But wasn't that easy. So the only information that was useful for me from here was the actual document ID, because I need that particular document ID to get the actual file. Unfortunately, at least at the time that we built this solution, wasn't able any REST API to get the actual file using this ID. So because of that, we need to use another web services also from Oracle Fusion, in this case using a SOAP endpoint. So let me show you very quick. So, okay, yeah, as said before, we're using this endpoint to get attachment information. The important information from here is the document ID that we're going to get. So then using that particular document ID, you can see here in this sample that we're passing that as a parameter on the payload. It's a SOAP payload. It's basically in XML format in order to get the actual file from Oracle. So let me show you that very quick. I'm using SOAP. UI. So it's basically to get that document ID in here. You have several parameters. In this case, I only getting one page. In some use cases, you can get multiple pages. That was another challenge in order to put all those pages together. But let's do a simple approach, getting only one page. You have to set your credentials in order to get your endpoint. And when you try this, you're going to get a response like this. Okay. It's basically XML response with all the information. In this case, and that was another tricky part, this is a multi-part response. That means that we have got this XML response, but also our role in as part of the raw response, we're getting the file, the binary data of the file itself. Taking a look is not that pretty. It's just, the raw data. You can see all these weird characters. It's basically my PDF, or in this case, a image representation of the file, right? However, what I would like to stress out is the fact you need to handle that response in order to treat the raw part as a document itself and then get that data. I can store that in a below variable or whatever is useful for you, right? So I know it sounds a little confusing. It's not that hard, but could be a little tricky. By the way, you can reach me anytime in order to get a sample code for any of those steps. I don't have any problem to share that with you guys. So I'm going to, this is a, sorry, this is a sample of the payload. It's the same that I already showed you using the SOAP UI tool. You can notice in here that you pass in the document ID. Everything else is just the common parameters. This is a sample approach, getting only the page one for that document, right? So now I'm going to pass the control to Diego in order to continue with the plugin UI integration.
Thanks, Rodolfo.
Problem.
Give me 1 second so I can grab the code. Yes. Nope. What are the controls? Zoom. So, well, first, let me explain this better. Okay. So to build our Google Chrome plugin, we will pick out the the out of the box JavaScript and jQuery 3.5.1. We are going to define all the needed parameters for our plugin and our environment setup. I'm going to go through those in a few. And then we are going to code the solution based on our needs. So let me show the code definition. Okay. So you may wondering, why are we doing this, and how does it look? So the first thing that I want to share is we are doing this because one of the problems that our customer was facing is that they were getting delayed while approving invoices and journals. So currently in Fusion, when you want to go to the approvals screen, you have to go through several clicks in order to check all the attached files, mostly all the PDF and image files that are related to the invoice or the journal that you want to approve. So that's an average, I don't know, 5 to 8 clicks. I don't remember um, the exact quantity, but it's delaying decision making. So they have to go to the approval screen. Then when they are checking and validating the invoice information, they are trying to match it up with what we have in the system in Fusion, right? So if they want to see that, they have to go to the invoice details, right? Open the different attachment related to that particular invoice, and then they have to go back. Once that they double checked, they have to go back and hit the approval button. With this, instead of going into that process, they get the preview of all the different images and PDFs that are related to the invoice that they want to approve immediately in the same page where they are making the approval, right? I'm going to show that in a bit. In this particular case, I'm going to switch back to the code, and I'm going to explain a little bit about this. So in order to make this plugin pretty dynamic, we took advantage of Oracle Fusion Standard. We know that Fusion gives you two different environments, one for testing and the other for production. And the only difference in the domain, it's the um, test word in the domain name. So in this particular one, the domain is EJUJ, right? And the test environment, it's EJUJ test. So with this, we are able to map and manage the different API calls that we are going to be doing to our environments in order to grab the information. So we are defining the ERP domains. We are defining the data warehouse host, development and production. We are also defining our ERP URI, where it's the main service path, and then the specific one for invoices and journals. So as you can see, we have for invoice, it's get image, and for journal, it's get GE attachment. So then we have invoice settings and journal batch settings. Invoice settings are different identifiers that are helpful for us to grab the information in our data warehouse. The same applies for the journal batch. Then we have the PDF viewer settings. So we can modify this as our wish and need, right? We're defining the width and height for the container, and we're also defining how many columns we are going to have to display this particular plugin. So one of the big challenges that we faced with this integration was that Oracle is always changing the HTML. It's always changing the structure. So we had the problems on trying to grab the different values for web service through CSS classes. We tried to do that, but then I remember we had a major update on Fusion and those classes were gone. So the plugin was not working. Let me change something before I show my screen. If I think it's very small. Okay. Okay. So I went into Fusion here, right? And I'm going to show an invoice. But first, I'm going to disable I'm going to disable it. So if I go here, oh, this is not the right one. Um, So this is the current screen. If you go to the approval of an invoice, this is going to be your default screen. You're going to have a title that identifies the screen and different information related to what we are showing here. So here we have a few things that are related to the invoice, right? We have details, description, supplier side, business unit, the amount summary, the invoice lines, the total amount, and a lot of different information. So this is how it normally looks if I enable the extension. Now we have a PDF in this right side. And as you can see, it matches 100%. We have all the information and all the PDF or images that are related to this invoice approval. So this invoice was already approved. If it was still pending, we should have like another button here that says approve, right? So the client, instead of having this side by side to be able to compare it, they had to go click by click in order to check all the different attachments, then verify with whatever they have here, right? And come back to this particular screen and approve it. So it was dragging them a lot of time. With this, it's very straightforward, right? They have the information coming from Oracle. They have the information that they attach, so they can compare it very easily and quicker than in the old way. And then they just have to hit approve or reject, depending on what they want to accomplish. So as you can see, very simple, not super complicated, but the backend logic, it's the one that it's a little bit different. So inspect. So as you can see here, like I was saying before, where is this? It's new page source. So as you can see, this is the page source from Fusion. It's completely dynamic, right? As you can see, it's a JavaScript function that builds and renders this particular information. So it was really challenging to use and access the HTML, right? So instead of doing the normal way on accessing HTML objects, what we did was to take advantage on how the HTML structure works. You have parents and child, right? So if we go back to the code, we have different functions to grab a specific information that it's going to be related to the content that it's being displayed instead of the structure that they are using underneath. So we have this auxiliary function to get the value from a label, right? I'm going to show you in a few. We have another function for the environment setup. This is related to the window location host name, and we are going to pick the production or development depending on the host name that we're currently in. We have a custom debugging function. This is helpful when we want to troubleshoot something. And we have another one to get the page title to identify if it's a journal page or if it's if it's an invoice approval page. Then we have the viewer configuration for the PDF, right? We're setting up the host, and we are modifying the HTML that it's being built by the custom JavaScript from Fusion, and we are adding this table with this max width. We are changing the table where the invoice details are being displayed, and we change the containers width. So here we start. So they use this generic nomenclature, C5, C6, C7, and it usually represents a parent and child, right? The lower the number, it's more related to a parent, and the bigger is more related to a child. So here we're grabbing the type of screen, right? Once we have the type of screen, verify if the screen is for invoices. We get the title with our function get page title. Then we configure the viewer. Then we set the API parameters that we are going to be sending. In this case, we are grabbing the invoice number, the supplier name, the supplier site, and the business unit. And what it's doing is basically, let me move this to here. So invoice number and supplier name, those come from the title, right? It's always this particular title. Approval of invoice, this is the invoice number from, this is the supplier name, and this is the quantity. It always has the same structure. So that's what we are doing here. We are grabbing the invoice header and then applying a substring to get the invoice number and to get the supplier. Okay. And then we are getting the supplier side by the value from a label, and the same for the business unit. So here is the supplier side label, and here's the business unit label. We define those over here. Supplier side, business unit, invoice screen. Here are the wildcards to do the substring on the header. So then we are basically parsing the HTML, right? Once we get all those values, we are encoding them, right? Because we have we may have special characters, and we may have blank spaces that are related to this, so we cannot just trim them, right? So we are encoding all the parameters that are going to be sent to the API. We concatenate those, as you can see here, the ERP host, the ERP URI, the invoice URI, and the query parameters. The invoice number, supplier, supplier site, and business unit. Then after the encoding, if we still have blank spaces, we just trim them, right? This is only if something weird happens after the encoding, because the encoding should not leave any blank spaces. It might be if somebody modified this the script and put like um, it has a typo on the host or in the URIs, right? That's why we have this trim blank spaces. Then the console, this is just displaying step by step all the different things that we are doing. I'm going to show it in a few as well. And once we get a response, we embedded the PDF into the HTML with this particular statement. And then we do pretty much the same thing with the journals. So let me show you the debug. So here it is, starting plugin execution, type of the screen, it's invoice approval. I think it's better this size. So invoice title, it's approval for invoice. The ERP host was set to STGen Hub because we are currently in checking production, right? Then we have API parameters before encoding, where this invoice number, supplier name, supplier site, business unit, and after the encoding, these are the values. As you can see here, it was a blank space, right? That it's necessary on the supplier name because it was registered with this blank space, right? It should not be allowed, but that's how it works, right? So as you can see here, we can see the blank space already encoded. And the same happened to the supplier site. And that's it. Here, we are doing the API call. This is the service that we are calling. We can check it out individually. This is a way to check that we are using the services that Rodolfo implemented correctly and that they are working fine, right? If I put something different here, I should get an error or something similar. Let's see. Well, apparently we're not using the business unit, or maybe it's because cashed out. So when we have something wrong, this is what we are returning. Sorry, no image available. Where's my screen? Here it is. Okay, so that's all the coding part. If we go to the Chrome details extension, we can see that we are currently in version 8. Let me zoom in. Version 8. This is the description. Displaying expedites invoice approvals, journal batches approvals, etc. Presenting the images on the approvals screen. And the plugin name, it's called Oracle ERP Cloud Image Approval Extension. If we go to the details, we can see the size, the specific ID, the site access. This is very important. We can get rid of it if we want to, right? And this particular one, the source, it's an unpacked extension loaded from this particular path in my machine. So if we have any errors, we can debug them over here. Right? And where's this? Over here. Let me see if I have a journal to show. Oh, here it is, I guess. Well, yeah, we don't have enough information. That's why, as you can see here, there's not information at all. So we are not able to pull the information from our data warehouse. I don't think this one is gonna work as well. Oh no, there is. Okay. So as you can see, this is for journals and the other was for invoices. And now that we are done with building the plugin, we can deploy it. The directory must contain the following structure. The content, that is the plugin definition. I included the jQuery 3.5 Min5 version. The manifest that basically has the plugin name, the version, the description, the content and scripts that are related to this plugin to work. CSS, we have a style CSS, and we have the JavaScripts that are the jQuery Min5 version and the content JS that we just checked. The plugin, in order to work, it should match the following URL, right? This one, EJUJ and EJUJ test. You can put all the different URLs you want there for your plugin to work. Style CSS doesn't have anything special. This was just for me when I was trying to check if the plugin was being triggered or not. I was turning the background yellow. But the code is still doing it, but I'm getting rid of any extra configurations in the content JS. So you just have to grab your entire zip file and drop it here, right? So you can just do drag and drop and it's going to automatically install it, or you can load unpacked and go to your particular path. As you can see here, I have it twice. I'm going to remove it. Yes. So to test the plugin, I already show you how does it work. And as I said before, you can modify everything as you wish in order to make the plugin to meet your expectations or your client's expectation. With that said, this is the last part of the presentation. Feel free to ask any questions to Rodolfo or myself. My contact information I think it was shared at the beginning of this webinar. Feel free to reach us out if you want to talk about plugins and different challenges that may come up while implementing Fusion. And that's going to be all. Any questions?
While you guys think of any final questions you might have for Diego or Rodolfo, I just want to remind you that today's webinar was recorded and you will have access to that recording if you need. You'll also get a follow-up email from NYOUG and Viscosity. So if you have any questions even then, or if you want to get in touch with one of our speakers today, you can just let us know and we will help you out. I don't see any other questions. So with that, thank you so much, Diego. Thank you, Rodolfo. Thank you, NYOUG, for co-hosting with us today. And I think that's it. So I hope you guys all have a great day. Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.